Hello, and welcome back to Miss Bell's classroom. Today in class, we're going to be talking about the year 1998 and some of the events that took place, as well as some of the popular culture. So I hope that you enjoy this video. So just to get started, we're going to talk about the cost of living in 1998. So the yearly inflation rate in 1998 in the USA was 1.55%. The average cost of a new house, about $129,000. The average income per year, $38,000. A cost of a gallon of gas, $1.15. The average monthly rent was $619. The average cost of a new car, about $17,000. A U.S. postage stamp cost 32 cents. A pound of bacon, $2.53. A pound of hamburger meat, $1.40. So we're going to go ahead and start talking about some of the important events that took place in 1998. And then we'll talk about popular culture. So Google was founded in the United States. So the search engine Google that we're all very familiar with was incorporated as a private company in Menlo Park, California by Larry Page and Sergey Brin during September. Page and Brin were still PhD students at Stanford University and had previously created the website as a research project starting in 1996. The company grew rapidly and received investments early on from the co-founder of Sun Microsystems and the founder of Amazon. It was successful due to its unique algorithm that calculated a website's relevance to a search by analyzing links back to the site rather than connections. It was successful due to its unique algorithm that calculated a website's relevance to a search by analyzing links back to the site rather than connections to the search terms, producing higher quality results. In Ireland, there was a Good Friday Agreement referendum. So citizens of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland vote in referendums on the Good Friday Agreement in May 1998. The Good Friday Agreement was signed in the previous month and dealt with issues like de-escalation of violence and justice between the two Irelands. The referendum in Northern Ireland asked voters approved of the ratification of the agreement, and the vote came out 71% in favor and 28% against, with a turnout of about 81%. The referendum held in the Republic of Ireland asked voters if they approved a change to the Constitution, creating the 19th Amendment, which would accommodate the agreement. The vote came out as 94% in favor and 5% against, with a 56% turnout. So the United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland signed the Good Friday Agreement, also known as the Belfast Agreement, on April 10th. The agreement marked the beginning of the peace process between Ireland and Great Britain, as outlined how the government would work in Northern Ireland, defined the United Kingdom. So the agreement marked the beginning of the peace process between Ireland and Britain, as it outlined how the government would work in Northern Ireland, defined the United Kingdom and Ireland's roles in Northern Ireland, and encouraged the demilitarization of the region. It established that Northern Ireland multi-party democracy. It established that, devolved a multi-party democracy, and the citizens of Ireland and Northern Ireland approved the agreement referendums held during the following. This became effective in December of 1999. In France, the World Cup. France wins the 1998 World Cup in France. So the 16th FIFA World Cup began during June of 1998 and was held in France. A total of 32 teams qualified for the tournament, and the matches were held across 10 different cities. In the country, during the 64 matches, a total of 165 goals were scored. The final title match was played between Brazil and France, with France winning 3-0, marking the 6th time a World Cup championship team had won at home. Over 2.7 million people attended the 1998 FIFA World Cup. In Europe, the European Court of Human Rights, the ECHR, was established as a permanent fixture during November of 1998. The ECHR was originally created in 1959 as a temporary system to help enforce the European Convention on Human Rights. The ECHR was tasked with upholding the observance of basic rights like freedom of speech and the right to a fair trial within the 47 member states of the Council of Europe. It was made permanent in 1998 to help handle the increasing number of cases that were being submitted. The ECHR is also known as the Strasbourg Court, as it is located in Strasbourg, France. With space that year, so the International Space Station, the assembly of the International Space Station, ISS, begins during December when NASA sends a 6-person crew on the Space Shuttle Endeavour to attach the American Unity node to the Russian Zarya module, also known as the Functional Cargo Block of FGB. The mission, known as STS-88, carried the node up to the module, which had already been launched. The crew completed 3 spacewalks to connect the first 2 building blocks of the ISS. The final pressurized module of the space station was attached in 2011. It is primarily used for scientific research, has hosted visitors from 17 different countries, and has been continually maintained since November 2nd, 2000. Japan Winter Olympics took place in Nagano, Japan. So the Olympics were held during February 1998 in Japan. These games saw the introduction of snowboarding and women's ice hockey, along with the reintroduction of curling. Also during the Nagano Olympics, U.S. figure skater Tara Lipinski became the youngest person to be a champion in an individual event in the history of the Winter Olympics at the age of 15. These were also the first games in which Macedonia, Kenya, Venezuela, and Uruguay participated. At the end of the games, the countries that won the most medals were Germany, Norway, and Russia. In South Africa, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission began to release its final report during October of 1998. The commission was originally established in 1995 by the South African government as a means to help heal the country after the end of the era. It investigated human rights issues that took place between 1960 and 1994 and heard statements from thousands of people. It also worked on granting amnesty for individuals who qualified. Some parties believed the commission went too far, while others believed it did not do enough, but was ultimately heralded as a successful effort in transparency and reconciliation by the international community. So other major events, the Canadian Supreme Court case on secession. So the Supreme Court of Canada ruled on the legality of Quebec's potential secession from the country. The court ruled that Quebec could not secede from Canada on its own. They also made it clear that if a referendum was held on the question, it would lead to negotiations between Quebec and the rest of Canada regarding the territory or the terms of the succession. The court also stated that any act of succession would need a constitutional amendment to be completed. The ruling was important that it provided more clarity regarding the question of Quebec's independence and could be potentially important to future discussions on referendums and in international law. The financial crisis hits much of Southeast Asia in 1998. Hong Kong, world's biggest airport, opens in Hong Kong. The Monica Lewinsky scandal happened. Bill Clinton denied that he had any relations with her. The White House intern Monica Lewinsky, starring the Lewinsky scandal and investigations, happened. There was an earthquake in Afghanistan measuring 6.1 in the northeast Afghanistan. It killed more than 5,000 people. Also in Afghanistan, the cruise missile strikes. So the U.S. launched the cruise missile strikes against and then the training camps in Afghanistan. The Sudan famine, so official famines in southern Sudan declared that estimated that over 1 million people could die from starvation. In Iceland, the Free Willy star, Kiko, goes to Iceland for eventual release back into the wild. James Byrd Jr., a 49-year-old African-American, was dragged to his death behind a pickup truck. New Zealand Blackout, so a 66-day blackout begins in Auckland, New Zealand. The Dow Jones dropped over 500 points on August 31st. There was also a U.S. budget surplus, so this was the first surplus in 30 years. In the United States, tornadoes hit central Florida and destroyed around 2,600 structures and killed about 42 people. In Florida, there were also forest fires that forced 120,000 people to flee their homes. The Belfast Agreement happened in between Irish and the British governments, which we talked about already. The IRA bombing, so what happened with that was, so the European Union single currency, so Europeans agree on a single currency, the euro. The European Union Court of Human Rights becomes a permanent court with full-time judges. President Bill Clinton impeached for perjury and obstruction of justice. The U.S. Tobacco Master Settlement, so Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement, MSA, is signed between tobacco companies and the United States. The European Central Bank is established in Frankfurt, Germany. With the world, the UNICEF reports over 130 million children worldwide do not attend school, and there is approximately 250 million child laborers worldwide. Exxon and Mobil merge, so the two companies, Exxon and Mobil, merge to create the world's largest petroleum company. More $20 bills, so new, harder to counterfeit $20 bills entered the circulation in 1998. In the Philippines, there was Typhoon Babs, which struck the Philippines, killing 100 people. And Microsoft becomes the biggest company in the world, valued at $261 billion on the New York Stock Exchange. The U.S. military jet severs the cable of a ski lift. So a low-flying U.S. military jet severed the cable of a ski lift in Italy, and 20 people plunged to their death. In Nigeria, an oil pipeline running through a village in Nigeria explodes, killing 700 people with the resulting fire burning for nearly a week. The world's longest suspension bridge was created in Japan. in Iran, UN weapons inspectors. So Iran prevents UN weapons inspectors from conducting a search, and President Bill Clinton orders a series of airstrikes. In Canada, there was a severe ice storm, and the northern United States leaves millions without power. The UK and the MMR vaccine in autism spectrum disorders. So the UK reported a link between the MMR vaccine and autism spectrum disorders in the UK. And it's answered by the World Health Organization, who said that no link exists, and thanks to the use of the MMR vaccine, death from diseases like measles and diphtheria have almost been eradicated. Rolls-Royce, the BMW buys Rolls-Royce cars for $570 million. And now just a little history on popular culture. So in 1998, and a little bit more information about 1998. So in the US, the life expectancy for males was about 73 years, and for females, 79 years. With sports, Serena and Venus Williams said that they could beat any man ranked 200 or higher in a game of tennis. Carson Brash, ranked 203, accepted the challenge and easily beat them 6-1 and 6-2. The research paper in 1986 and 1997, Emily Rosa 9 tested 21 therapeutic touch practitioners whether their claims to detect human energy fields were true, finding they were right only 44% of the time. And this became the youngest person ever to have a research paper published. So with sports now, the World Series champions were the New York Yankees. The Super Bowl champions, Denver Broncos. The National Basketball Association champions, Chicago Bulls. The Stanley Cup champions, Detroit Red Wings. US Open golf champion, Lee Janzen. US Open tennis, Patrick Rafter. And for women, Lindsay Davenport. Wimbledon champions, Pete Sampras and Jana Novotná. The FIFA World Cup soccer champion, France. The NCAA football champions, Tennessee. NCAA basketball champions, Kentucky. So some of the fashion icons and movie stars that were well known were Gillian Anderson, Pamela Anderson, Sophie Anderton, Jennifer Aniston, Tyra Banks, Zoe Ball, Drew Barrymore, Victoria Beckham, Tracy Bingham, Yasmin Bleeth, Caprice Barrett, Kelly Brock, Sandra Bullock, Emma Bunton, Mariah Carey, Courtney Cox. Those were just some of them. So let's see. MP3s were created for the first time in 1998. On April Fool's Day in 1998, Burger King took out a full-page ad in USA Today introducing a Whopper designed especially for lefties. The new burger would contain the same ingredients as the original, but rotated 180. Thousands of customers swarmed to BK restaurants requesting the lefty Whopper. So the first known instance of the word derp comes from 1998 comedy film Basketball by South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Blackie, a cat from the UK, inherited $12.5 million when his owner died. Blackie holds the Guinness World Record for being the wealthiest cat ever. David Bowie launched a dial-up internet service provider known as BowieNet, which came with its own email and exclusive content, which lasted until 2006. So In 1998, the first W Hotel opened in New York on Lexington Avenue and 49th Street. Watchmaker Swatch tried to introduce a system of time measurement they called where they took the day and divided it into 1,000 beats. It never caught on though. A Florida resident petitioned successfully to have the telephone area code 321 assigned to the Kennedy Space Center and surrounding area. The pronunciation resembles the countdown before liftoff. Adam Sandler has only made one comedy film that was positively rated as fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which is the 1998's Wedding Singer. Some of the biggest pop artists in 1998 include Aaliyah, Aerosmith, Backstreet Boys, Brandy, Brian McKnight, Celine Dion, Destiny's Child, Dixie Chicks, Janet Jackson, Goo Goo Dolls, JoJo, Kenny Chesney, Lauryn Hill, Madonna, Mariah Carey, Maze, Master P, Matchbox 20, Monica, Montel Jordan, Maya, Natalie Imbruglia, Next, NSYNC, R. Kelly, Puff Daddy, Redman, Savage Garden, 702, Shania Twain, Silk the Shocker, Spice Girls, Usher, Will Smith, Wyclef Jean. And some of the popular television shows: ER, Friends, Frasier, Monday Night Football, Veronica's Closet, Jessie, 60 Minutes, Touched by an Angel, CBS Sunday Night Movie, Home Improvements, and some of the most popular movies: Saving Private Ryan, There's Something About Mary, A Bug's Life, The Waterboy, Dr. Dolittle, Rush Hour, Deep Impact, Godzilla, and Patch Adams were some of the popular movies. So that is all that I have for today. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson on 1998. Goodbye.